Hey guys, BaoZakeruga here. It's that time once again at the end of the year where a lot of gamers like to announce their top 10 games of the year and all that, but I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. This idea was inspired by my friend Round 2 Gaming, who at the end of the year does a list of games he's completed, so I shall be doing the same. But unlike him, my list is not going to be that large, because I usually like shuffle my games around when I'm playing them. I don't really play one, then like dedicate my time to that one and then go to another, so yeah. Not too many on this list, about 9 or 10. But anyways, let's get right into it. First game I completed this year was Super Robot Wars Z3 Jingoku-hen. This game is the first part of the conclusion to the Super Robot Wars Z series, as shows to the game like Full Metal Panic, Evangelion, The Rebuild, bunch of good stuff. But kinda iffy on the game. Well, not iffy, like there's a lot of good things with the game, there's a lot of bad things with the game. Good thing, this is the first time a regular Super Robot Wars game has been in HD, so it looks pretty. But at the same time, it kinda just looks like an upscale PSP game, cause honestly that's what it kinda is, so bit disappointed on that. Plus they kind of screwed up the animations with a lot of units where your units just do regular attacks and not real flashy ones like a lot of fans like in the series. So that's also a disappointment, especially with some of my favorite units like Gundam Death Scythe and Gundam Harut, but that's just me being the fanboy for those. But the game does get some things right, like for example the story has a lot of hilarious moments in it, and I love the way they incorporated some things like Char's counterattack. I love what they did with that story, making it so Char technically did go the route of how he did in the movie, but at the same time he redeems himself. I won't say it in case anyone has interest in the game and wants to play it, and there is a translation guide out for it, so no real reason to avoid it. But yeah, Z3 Jingoku-hen. No regrets, I love the game. I technically started it in 2014, but I didn't finish it until 2015, like the very beginning of the year, so it just barely made the list. Still recommend it. You can find it pretty cheap now on Amazon, so go check it out. Our next game is a game in the long-running and beloved Tales series, Tales of Xillia 2. This game I was very cautious going into, but I figured I wanted to at least give it a try, and I did. And to my surprise, I ended up liking it a lot more than I thought I would. First Xillia I don't really like all that much, but the second game I really liked. It did some really interesting stuff like the death system, having a character that's silent protagonist, and just a bunch of interesting design choices that some bothered me at first, but ultimately I got used to. And you know, it's a Tales game. You run around, you attack, you chain combos together. And I say this game has one of these most fun characters to use in all of Tales for me, that being Gaius, which I think is the first for the series because he was like the big baddie in the first game, and now he's completely playable. And the thing I really like about Gaius is that, you know, in games when you get that rare opportunity to use antagonists and they're like nerfed from what they are as a boss, this guy is as broken as he was as a boss, as a playable character, and I freaking love it. Also, I gotta note that this is probably the darkest Tales game I've ever played. There's like 3 different endings, and no matter what ending you pick, someone ends up dying and you end up just feeling bad about yourself. So there is no good ending to this game in my opinion. But still, a solid game that took me by surprise. I can understand why people didn't like it because the structure of the game is really different. Some broken up into like chapters and everything. But overall, I do not regret my purchase of Tales of Xillia 2, even though I lost my freaking copy, so that's lame. And part of me doesn't want to buy it again, but good game. Put about probably 50 hours, maybe even more into it. And yeah, solid RPG. And probably the last Tales game I had fun with, because let's not get into Vesperia. But anyways, next game on the list is Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. A game I was not very hyped for because I played Gen 3 so much. But even then, the game honestly disappointed me. Up until the Delta episode that dealt with Mega Rayquaza and the new girl Xenia, or whatever her name is. But yeah, the game just bored me. Like, it's just the game I've already played so many times with a prettier coat of paint on it, and it just didn't do anything for me. I think the main thing I don't like about Gen 3 is that a lot of the wild Pokemon just aren't interesting for me to use as a party. Like, you know, Poochyena, Lotad, but you have some cool ones like Absol and all that. Plus they did add a few Pokemon from other generations, but not many enough to be very notable. I do have to admit though that they did a really good job with the music in this game, like Xenia's theme, the remix theme of Archie and Maxie. Those are really standouts. Wally's theme is probably the best one in the game in my opinion. So I do gotta note them on the sound. It's kind of a shame though, because Pokemon is probably my favorite RPG series of all time, and I just couldn't get into this one for whatever reason. And that's never happened to me before with the main game or remake, so yeah, but I guess there's a first time for everything. And it's funny, I sold the game before I even did any like extra stuff. Like I completed the Delta quest and that was it. But anyways, next game is One Piece Pirate Warriors 2. For those that don't know, I am a humongous Dynasty Warriors / Muso fan, and this One Piece game was everything I wanted. Gorgeous graphics, just classic Muso gameplay. An original story mode that was sort of interesting. I think they could have did a lot more with this story. Like, basically what was this? Like these dark snail, like the little moshi phones, like taking over people, or it's something like that. I haven't played in a long time, but they're taking over people, and then you gotta like recruit enemies and allies to join your cause, and it's just really cool, and you just gotta play to see it. But yeah, like I said, a bunch of classic Muso gameplay, people from the One Piece universe, some of my favorites like Marco the Phoenix, Trafalgar Law, Ace, Akainu. Just so much fun to use. Like, out of all the Muso games I play, I say this one probably has some of straight up the most fun characters to use, especially the Logia users. Maybe minus Blackbeard. I didn't find Blackbeard all that fun to use, either of his versions, but people like Ace, Akainu, Crocodile, they're all like destructive, and I like it because that's what they're supposed to be. It's said in the show that Logia users are pretty much weapons of mass destruction in of themselves because of what they can do, so I like that. But yeah, One Piece Pirate Warriors 2. Haven't gotten around to playing the third game yet. Is it on PC? Because if it's on PC, I might just get it. Plus there's a Steam sale today, the date that I'm recording this, so, well, there should be, so who knows, might pick it up today for all I know, if it's a good price. But yeah, One Piece Pirate Warriors 2, great game, even co-op, so pick it up if you haven't yet. Next up we have Final Fantasy IX. Going a little old school with this one. Interesting history with me for Final Fantasy IX. This year was like my third time playing the game. First time, whole computer got wiped and my data was deleted with it. Second time, PS3 got the yellow light of death, save data, gone. Third time, I sat down this year and I told myself I am going to complete this game. I finally did, and I regret nothing because what an amazing game. In my opinion, the most underrated game in the series because no one really talks about 9. 6, obviously, what I consider the best. 7, I don't even need to say anything. 10, amazing. 13 is talked about, but not for the right reasons. And yeah, 14 is the current hotness, and 15 is coming out, but no one really talks about 9. It's kind of surprising because it's one of the best in the series in my opinion. And to my surprise, it's easily the darkest game in the series. Like, there's a bunch of death in this game, like straight up genocide levels of people dying. And yeah, likable characters. Vivi is like the most likable character I've ever seen in the game, period. Zidane is likable. Garnet has a lot of character development. Quina is hilarious. Amaranth, he's probably my only complaints. Like, I thought they could have did more with his character and all that, but whatever. Everything else in the game is great. Amazing soundtrack as always. Kuja's boss theme is simply amazing. I believe it's called Dark Messenger. Yeah, I think it's just called Dark Messenger. And awesome theme song. And yeah, the ending even got me to like get out of my seat and like literally clap. It's like, it was that good. If you haven't played Final Fantasy IX, go play it now. The game has aged tremendously for a PS1 game, still very playable to this day, so I highly recommend it. Next up we have Spec Ops The Line. I mentioned this in a video I did earlier this year of 5 games I love from 5 genres I don't. And Spec Ops The Line was on that list. It's a shooter game, a military shooter. And the thing that got me to play is that people kept saying, well, it's story driven, so why the heck not? Plus it was on sale on PSN for like $7 or something like that. So tried it, absolutely loved it. Won't talk about why I loved it because, well, I can't go into specifics because of the story. And there's like some crazy plot twists that go on, but if you like games that are story driven and like mess with your head, give Spec Ops The Line a try. I heard people say like the gameplay itself is mediocre, but I never really felt that. It's like run of the mill, like third person shooting, cover tactics and all that, but I had no problem with that. I thought it was actually pretty fun, and I'm usually not into games like this, so. But yeah, crazy story. You just have to play it for yourself. It's not even that long. Pretty sure you can beat it in like 10 hours, so yeah. Spec Ops The Line. A shooter I will never ever forget, even if I wanted to. Next game is actually my favorite game of all time now, and that is Xenogears. Oh man, where to even start with this game? For those that don't know, obviously Xenogears is sort of a spiritual predecessor to the now popular Xenoblade games and also Xenosaga. It deals with Faye, a guy who was dropped off at a village as a kid and has no recollection of anything before then. Stuff happens, he leaves the village, and just a whole lot of craziness. You start as this kid named Faye, but during the progress of the game you encounter fortresses in the sky, God himself in a way. It's like really crazy stuff. I can't talk about specific stuff because of spoilers, but like this game just covers some of the like, think of the word epic, like the literal word, like stuff like the stories of Gilgamesh and the Odyssey and all that. Like that is this game, in my opinion. Definitely Takashi's best work, period. Just 2 discs, 60 hours of perfection. Oh, this game. I could literally be here for like hours talking about the great things about this game. The soundtrack, out of this world, especially that boss theme. The characters, even the antagonists, so well-rounded, not static at all. Your supporting party members, especially Ellie, so much depth to them. Just and of course the game has mechs, so where can you go wrong with that? Only bad things I have to say about the game is that, one, there's no map in a lot of areas, and that can be kind of problematic with certain parts of the game. But thankfully for me, I used a guide, so I was sort of covered with that. But even then, I could see how that could be annoying for some people. But yeah, it's probably my only complaint. A lot of people complain about the second disc because it was technically rushed. It's like they had to cram a bunch of the story in, remove a lot of the dungeons, and just make it like text-based. But honestly, it didn't matter to me because, like I said, I love the story and it just presented more story for me. So yeah, trust me, my standards are high. So when I say this is my favorite game of all time, this is my favorite freaking game of all time. If you haven't played Xenogears yet and you're a massive fan of RPGs, you are doing yourself a disservice. Can't recommend it enough. Next game on our list is Disgaea D2. Disgaea was one of my first strategy RPG series after Fire Emblem and Super Robot Wars. And the thing I always liked about this series is the fact that despite its hilariousness and in-your-face humor, it's usually like a serious story beneath the surface. While D2 doesn't like get real serious like the first game, overall like one of the endings does, which I got because I like lost against the final boss, so I got a bad ending. But still a nice little story. I say it's a lot more character driven than the previous games. Like the previous games, like the characters are there. They're like what gives the game its flavor and everything, but I say the characters are really the driving force of this one. And just what I liked about this game a lot is that it's more streamlined than recent games like 4 and 3 also. It's like I felt those games almost tried to do too much in regards to like the gameplay elements, like the geo stuff, but this game sort of dials it back a lot but at the same time not dumbing it down. And also, like I mentioned, the soundtrack. Disgaea has always been known for its memorable and atmospheric music, and this game is no different, especially that level 10 item world boss theme. Oh my god, that song, it gets you pumped for battles. But yeah, Disgaea D2. Not much else to say, other than that it's a typical Disgaea game, which isn't bad in of itself because it's Disgaea, it's really likable. And finally, our last game slash 2 games, Diablo 3 plus Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls. Played this one on the it was PS3. I had never played Diablo before. Kind of just seen gameplay of it. I just knew it was really popular and people get addicted to it, but yeah. First time playing Diablo. And the thing that really made this for me is that I played it with a couple friends and oh man. Good fun times. Basically just going around with your group of friends, killing monsters and looting gear. It's pretty much Diablo in a nutshell, at least for me. Just killing monsters, getting awesome upgrades to your stuff, and then trying to get better equipment more and more. And the story, I actually started out interested in the story, but by the end of the game it just kind of fizzled out for me. I gotta say this game has like some of the coolest cutscenes I've ever seen in the game in terms of like graphics and also just epicness, but not like cool epicness, but you know, like that Gilgamesh Odyssey level epicness like that. But yeah, not much else to say about Diablo really. It's pretty much that, what I said earlier, getting better equipment. But the thing is, it's fun while you're doing it. You're just mowing down enemies, hoping they drop some good stuff while you get level ups. Plus the separate classes are very interesting. Like my first class was a hunter. Oh, she just wrecked everything with like arrows in every direction, traps and turrets, and yes. And my second character was witch doctor, which I didn't care too much for at first, but when she actually got some of her better spells, oh, she was a force to be reckoned with. Just dropping frogs down on people, spitting acid at them, summoning a horde of like your own personal voodoo army behind you. It's really fun. If you haven't played Diablo yet, this is the perfect place to start. But I will say, the game isn't too enjoyable on your own. Like I tried level grinding on my own a little bit and it just wasn't all that enjoyable. So pick it up if you have friends. You're guaranteed to have a good time, even if you're just like running for your life dying. So yeah, Diablo 3 is solid time. And that was it for games I completed in 2015. I started a lot of games this year like Splatoon, the sequel to Super Robot Wars Z3 Tengoku Hen, Xenoblade Chronicles X, but I haven't finished any of them, so yeah. Technically with Splatoon I haven't even started the story mode, I just played the multiplayer, so yeah. But yeah, those are the games I completed. If you played any of these games, either now or in the past, or if you ever plan to, give me your thoughts in the comments. Also, I'm curious to see what games you guys played and completed in 2015. let me know. Also be sure to check out Round 2 Gaming, his YouTube channel. He uploads a bunch of gaming, how do you say the word, memorabilia? Like a bunch of gaming products, and I don't know where he finds this stuff, but it's like awesome. You gotta see it for yourself, but yeah, you won't be disappointed. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, have a great day, and a Happy New Year.